G'day everyone, welcome to another episode of the Purple Coloured Glasses. It's Thursday, which means it's tipping time. We've got our first game, Saints against Brisbane. We'll be talking about that one, the rest of the games of the round, and also the derby. West Coast up against Freo, or Freo up against West Coast. Freo are at home. Our home derby. But let's get kicked off with the first game. So Brisbane against Saints. I thought the last time these teams played, Saints were pretty good up at the Gabba. They ran out of a bit of puff. They had 3 injuries. I think they only had 1 on the bench. Went down by a couple of goals. I do think they're a shot here against the Lions. They don't have the greatest travelling record. But they are going a bit better than the Saints are. So I'll be going Brisbane, but a close game. I'm looking at the lineups for more latest team changes. So Brisbane, their changes. They've got Payne and Pryor coming in. Calamarchi and Adams are out injured. Adams being out's actually a bit of a big deal. He hasn't been superb this year down back, but key defenders can be hard to replace. Could upset their structure a little bit. Wanganeen, Millera, and Linnett, I think that's how you pronounce his last name there, are out for Hanbury, who's been managed. I thought he had a bit of a tweak and came off the ground. Josh Battle, who's injured, and Zach Jones has been omitted. So we go on the lines in this one, but a close game. They haven't been that convincing away from the Gabba this year, it must be said. On to our next match. The Dogs against the Giants. I don't think I really need to look at the team lineups in this one. I'll be tipping the Dogs. I think the Giants are a team that can cause an upset here, but I think they had their cage rutted last week, played well for one game against Essendon, and now they'll be thinking again about their trips to Bali. The only thing that maybe gets them up for this game is their sort of historical rivalry with the Dogs in the last couple of years. But I think Toby Green's out with an injured thumb. I thought I saw that reported earlier in the week. So if he's out, yeah, that's sort of their talisman up forward. I don't see how the Giants, even against the Western Bulldogs defence, kick enough points or enough goals to win this game. And yes, Toby Green is out, and Bruce is injured, so he didn't get suspended, but he got injured. Yeah, I don't think the Giants are getting it done this week. Then we've got Adelaide against North Melbourne. North have got a chance here against Adelaide. Ben Cunnington, who's really been the barometer for the last couple of years when he's been in, provides some real midfield leadership for the group. They're a smoky chance here. Adelaide are on a fairly decent run in the last couple of weeks. They've won 2 in a row, but they've been really, really decent at the Adelaide Oval this year. So I think they get it done against the Kangas, bottom of the ladder. But you never know. You never know. So going Adelaide in that one at home. I do think North are a sneaky chance either this week or next week to get one more win, particularly if Cunnington plays both weeks. And maybe sneak off the bottom of the ladder and let West Coast have the wooden spoon. Next up, we've got Gold Coast against Geelong. Would have been a really interesting game if Gold Coast was still in it for the top 8. With Geelong, they've sort of got the top spots linked or sealed up. I think they can drop one game and still get it. Let's bring the ladder up. Yeah, so they've currently got a 1-win buffer and 30% over Collingwood, so they can drop one game. So it would have been interesting with a Gold Coast needing to win, Geelong having a bit of a safety net, but not to be, unfortunately. I think the Cats go up to Geelong and they get the job done and extend their winning streak and keep their good form rolling. They benefited really well from not having to play Dangerfield and Blitzarves and a few guys last week. I think they just come out nice and fresh for this one and just put up another really professional performance. Well, it looks like, they've brought in Dangerfield, Rowan, Selwood, and Blitzarves. But then they're managing Smith, O'Connor, and Duncan. So, yeah, they're just going to rotate some of their big names just in the lead-up. Melbourne against Carlton. So, currently, as I'm recording this, Carlton are trying to appeal to get Paddy Cripps off his suspension. You got 2 weeks, and I think Carlton are panicking a little bit because if they don't win one of these games and the Bulldogs win both of their games against the Giants and the Hawks, they'll miss out. Or even if the Saints, cause a few upsets. So there's two teams sort of snapping at their heels. I guess you should throw Richmond into that, but Richmond, the people have sort of said, oh yeah, Richmond just win the next two. They haven't really been dead certainties all year. They brought in Pitney and dropped to Koning, which is an interesting choice. Stock has come in. Chera's copping a lot of flack. Needs to be performing as a midfielder and contributing, yada, yada, yada. Well, he chose to leave, and that's what happens when you have the scrutiny of the Victorian media looking at you every week. So he has to manage that and work through it. And if he showed what he was capable of at Freo, he can go another gear or two and really help Carlton out. I think he really has been. If you were to rank their mids, we've got Hewitt, Cripps, Walsh, and Kennedy, and then Chera in that. Chera would be the 5th ranked midfielder in that group in terms of the output he's had this year. Now, I think he's a lot better player than Kennedy, and I think he can be better than Hewitt as well, or on equal terms with Hewitt. And his disposal's just like gone off, and I think that's something that Carlton midfield don't have a lot of, and that's why Chera was a good pickup, is they've got the strong bodies, contest to contest type of mids, but they don't have the lethal out on the outside or outside the stoppage ball skills, which is why Chera, I think, was brought in, and we were a bit upset to lose him because we felt like we didn't have as many kicks this year or in our team. I think we have seen a few players come along in that space. Whether he's sort of struggling, not having as much time on ball or something like that, but he's got an opportunity to show something. Melbourne were really good last week. They kick straight, they win the game. So I think they just need to roll the same performance out again against Carlton. They haven't been playing at Collingwood's level. So they'd have to lift significantly to get over the Demons. So I'll be going Melbourne. And then we've got the Derby. Trying to remember the last time Fremantle were such one-sided favourites leading into a derby, and typically it would cause a lot of anxiety. We've got Swift-Kowski, as I like to call him, in for Taberner. Henry back as the Medi sub. They bring in Dixon, Nelson, and Rotham. And Williams omitted. That's an interesting one. They must be playing Hugh Dixon in the ruck. They've still got Nick Nat, right? Where's their line? Yeah, they've still got Nick Nat. So, yeah, they're playing Bailey as the second ruck, so they'll play Hugh Dixon, I'd imagine, as the forward ruck or something like that. Kennedy out, obviously, retirement. Tim Kelly didn't get his suspension overturned, and Rioli is out for a personal reason. I don't want to get too smug or ahead of myself, but we really should face on the Eagles this week. I'm just trying to look at their team and see who would I be scared of. So, Nick Nat, yep, he can do damage, and he has hurt us before when he's on the ground. He's only played sort of 50-60% game time. Darling has had a fairly decent back half of the year. Shuey's been more competitive and influential in the last couple of weeks, but hasn't exactly been his explosive self coming out of packs. And Tom Barras has been very solid down back for them. Really, it should be our defenders should just give them no hope. Should be all over them. I can see Darling getting a couple, maybe in a 1-on-1 against either Cox or Pearce, but really they should be on top unless it's coming lace out from their mids, which it really shouldn't be. Shuey's been underdone. No, they got who else have they got on there? They got Gaff Foley on the wings, and they've got Jack Redden and Xavier O'Neill. Redden's a solid two-way midfielder, but he's not got the most damaging disposal, and O'Neill's been sort of in and out of the team consistently. So I see us getting it done, and should get it done by a significant margin. Now there is forecast of rain, and a lot of people saying Freo can't play in the rain, etc. People seem to forget West Coast can't play in the rain either. They weren't a great wet weather side even in their premiership years, so I think you end up getting the same result. It's just a smaller scoreline. Going Freo this one. And yeah, it is a bit of a shame with the derby. Sort of more broadly, just speaking about it is. And hopefully it doesn't change this week. By the way, it's very much followed where the teams are on the ladder. So we're going up. West Coast going down through rebuild. And we've won 2 in a row so far. Before that, we were in rebuild. West Coast were a premiership contending team, and they won 11 in a row. And before that, we were the premiership contending team. They were the rebuild coming out of rebuild team, and we won 7 in a row or 8 in a row. So yeah, I can see why some people think, particularly if you're outside of Western Australia, think it's not as competitive as a game. There's still a lot of rivalry and banter around it, but there was a period there when we were getting beaten every week. It was almost like you had the West Coast fans feeling sorry for you, which kind of sucks because like it's a rivalry. Like I don't want I don't want my main rivals fans like going, like it's 10 in a row now, And so yeah, even if it would be nice, especially in the early days, for us to dish out some pain back to West Coast, but I do want these to be like some close, nail-biting games. Like the seasons are dependent on like how this result goes. We haven't really had that in a while. So moving on to the Richmond Hawthorn game. Yeah, Richmond have gone in this one, but these are the games in recent times where you go, yep, there is certainty there. Just tip Richmond and they find a way to lose. Hawthorn have won 4 out of their last 5 as well. So they got some decent form going at the moment, some belief in the group. They did beat Gold Coast last week down in Tassie. But if I recall, they had a few outs from their team, so we'll just see if they've announced the extended squads. So they brought in Howe, Saunders, Callow, and Shields. So yeah, still no. I think Moore was the one that was injured and didn't come back. No, Dylan Moore's in the team. I'm trying to remember who the other forward was for Hawthorn, who's been quite good for them this year. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's been named in the team to return. So yeah, I'll be going Tigers with a fair amount of confidence. And now we've got Sydney against Collingwood. Can you believe that Collingwood, according to these odds, and I don't like talking about those, but $3.20. I think they were closer against Melbourne last week. There's rumours about flu going through the Pies camp. Both teams won 5 in a row. And sorry, Collingwood fans, I'm tipping you guys this week. So you know what's going to happen? You're going to lose. From Fremantle's perspective, there's a few results that need to go our way to help us finish top 4. The simplest path is we win both games and Collingwood win this one. Because we'd move above Sydney and then Melbourne and Brisbane have to play each other in the last round. So one of them's going to lose. So then that's the 2 positions we can move up. So if you could do us a favour, Collingwood, that'd be great. Does feel like I'm selling my soul to the devil a little bit. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen. But I'll be tipping Collingwood making it 12 in a row. In the last game of the round, Bombers against Port. Hard game to tip, I think, because our Bombers actually done. Like they came back with a bit of a spurt, bit of energy to finish the year off well and give their supporters hope. And Port Adelaide pushed a lot of the top teams. And then really fell over in a heap against Richmond last week. They're cooked by the looks. But Essendon aren't a great team, so can they go over to Marvel and beat them? They can. So yeah, I think Port are a much better team than Essendon. It's just Essendon seem to be in the slightly better form compared to Port Adelaide. So I am going to go Essendon in this game at home. But not with a lot of confidence. They've let me down a little bit. So those are my tips. Let me know who you think the upset's going to be. And if you're liking my content, remember to like and subscribe. And I'll see you all guys next time to review how the games went. And hopefully Freo got up in the derby. Catch you all later. Bye.